Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of the Crossroads podcast. I am your host, Rashida Green. Thank you for joining me. I am joined by friend to the room, Miss Lavonya Jones. Miss, I am doing my dissertation as we speak to get this PhD.
Listen. Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Listen, we are getting it straight down and dirty because you have things to do, madam, and I'm not here to hold you.
I appreciate it. We are writing and reading.
Yes, because you are smart and you will soon have the power to excel in all things. This is good news, right?
It's good news. If I can get this done today, I can graduate in 2 months.
Oh my God. Where is the mixer? Because I'm coming.
Listen, I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna disappear for a year or not.
Disappear to where?
I don't know.
You're like anywhere but here.
Anywhere but here. Where people know me.
Anywhere but Fulton County. Anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what this should be called. I think that's the title of the episode. No, it's not. So, girl, as we normally start the show, we start off by giving flowers, where we honor someone living or deceased who inspires us, who is someone that we look up to. And do you have any people that you or persons that you would like to give flowers to?
Yeah, I got a couple people I want to give flowers to first, because we always got to start with HBCU love.
Come on.
I want to give flowers to Megan Holston Alexander. She is a Clark Atlanta alum.
Whoop.
One of my favorite venture capitalists in the whole industry. She currently is a partner with a cultural leadership fund with Andreessen Horowitz. So the fund that invested in Clubhouse. Yeah. So she's freaking dope. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's the first person. And then I want to give flowers to a couple, Trevor and Alice Loy. So Trevor and Alice Loy, Trevor helped start the entrepreneurship program at Stanford University. He's also the former chair of the National Venture Capital Association. And his wife, Alice, runs a creative business accelerator in New Mexico, where she works with the Pueblo population there. So they're like a really dope couple in entrepreneurship and VC. And I met them through Twitter, and they are amazing and have been super nice to me and have opened up doors and introduced me to people. And I'm just grateful that they think enough of little old me.
Well, I mean, you are amazing, so it's easy for people to want to invest in you.
You're too kind. Yeah.
No, girl.
They have like opened up their arms to me. So I'm thankful.
That's great.
To know people that started the entrepreneurship program at Stanford, of all places.
That's amazing. Of all places.
And I met on Twitter. So there's that.
You better network with these strangers.
Listen, I will network with strangers.
I will. That's actually the title of the episode. So, friend, I'm actually going to give flowers to a colleague of mine who's also a friend to the show, Mr. Eric Range. He is at Mr._chairman on Instagram. He is an author. He is the chairman of the board for Minorities for Medical Marijuana, which is nationwide. There's a chapter someplace near you. I suggest you figure it out, find it, and get connected. I'm giving flowers to him because he is an entrepreneur. He is a father. He is, all these things. He's a teacher. Awesome. We met. I've told this story probably a million times. We met at Essence Fest, like randomly, as we were all sizzling like steaks in that heat, like carne asada, like flapjacks. So
it is virtual this year.
And no one is happier than the back of people's necks because, my God, the heat.
Jeez.
So anyway, But Eric, is a great person, and he is definitely in alignment with a lot of things that we're going to be discussing, because we're really talking about
Yes.
financial literacy today. We're just going to
Yes.
dip the toes, because this is an ongoing discussion that we have to have. So we have used a couple of terms so far in this here program, namely venture capitalism. Girl, what is that, and why should people care about it?
Okay, so venture capitalism, let's start with what everybody knows, Shark Tank. But it's a little bit more complex than what people see on Shark Tank. So essentially, it is a way for businesses to raise money to grow fast. Now, how do they do that? So you have what we call limited partners, which are typically pension funds and university endowments, or really, really high net worth individuals that give money to what we call general partners, and they pay them a fee to invest that money in businesses with the idea that they will, what we say, 10x that investment. So the general partner is typically the people that you see that are running venture capital funds. So they find businesses to invest in. They are looking for businesses that have a business model that's scalable to $1 billion. That's the industry right now. So that's
what?
Yeah.
Scalable so basically that a business could be built and be made large enough to accommodate revenue of $1 billion.
Yeah, they're looking for unicorns. So,
okay.
So, they're looking for, yeah.
Okay. Seems tough. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, essentially is, I take this pension funds or this university endowments money. I invested in Clubhouse. Clubhouse goes from $100 million to $1 billion valuation. When they either merge with another company, get bought out by another company, or go public on the stock market, I get my investment back and hopefully a profit on that investment.
Okay.
And
so you basically just walked through the investment life cycle, like the venture capital investment life cycle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In a very as simple as I could.
That was really good, to the point that I could catch it. And I like that.
Okay, I was trying. So yes, it's a way for business to raise money. But the reason why it's important is when you look at people who have built what we call generational wealth, and I'll define that later in the conversation. That wealth has typically been built through venture capital, which is it's a private equity, what we call asset class. There are other asset classes. Venture capital is just one of those asset classes. And then when you look at how money is made in venture capital, the majority of those businesses are tech-based businesses. And so it's, how we got all these billionaires and stuff in the world.
Right. And so you, in addition to, of course, being like your amazing self and getting your dissertation to really stunt on the girls, you also decided to just take it one step further and like start your own. What? It's not just a business. I mean, you started like 5 businesses, but the ones that we're here to talk about is consciously funded.
Yes.
You're like a finance octopus.
Yeah. So, okay, so let me say this first as a caveat. I am not sold that the current model of venture capital works for anybody else outside of Silicon Valley.
Come on.
So I'll start there.
Okay.
So I haven't completely figured this out yet, but I am a firm believer that the financial models we use to grow businesses, grow economies should be tailored to that particular community. I don't think there should be this one cookie cutter way to do it. So with that being said, consciously funded. Essentially, it's a media company. My background's in entertainment. We talked about that before. I spent 17 years in the industry. But the goal is to amplify the Black and Indigenous voices that are doing the work and funding the work in the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Mm-hmm.
So where that comes in for me, on the funding aspect, so there's the media part, but on the funding aspect is creating pathways for our HBCU and tribal college students to build businesses in those spaces. Because our communities are affected first and worst by all these social impact, climate, environmental issues. So who better to come up with solutions than the people from these communities? So next summer, I will be launching a fellowship that will take HBCU and tribal college students through the process of building a solution towards one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and then providing them funding to grow that solution. And long-term goal, very, very long-term, although it's looking like it's happening faster than I anticipated, but we're just gonna say long-term. Mm-hmm. Long-term, I'm looking to have what we call venture studios to fund these ventures. And so essentially, I'll define what a venture studio real quick. So a venture studio combines—
we want this knowledge.
The venture studio is a new model which combines the business incubator model and the venture capital model. So a venture studio is similar to a business incubator in that it has everything you need in it to build your business. So operations, human resources, finance, all the things that go into making a business. And so our entrepreneur would apply to be a member of that venture studio. The venture studio would take what we call an equity stake in that business. So they'll give that business money in exchange for, say, 7% ownership of the business. Okay. But that business is now a member of the venture studio, where they have the resources to build their business, and they also connect them to additional what we call rounds of funding, A, B, C, D, E rounds of funding.
Can you?
Yes.
I'd like to pull the car over very briefly.
Yes.
So when you say different, like basically like tiers of money, is that more of like a hedge, or is that like it's all kind of protected? Or I guess what I'm asking is how is a business owner and entrepreneur able to get from one tier to the next? Like, what is it that they have to do?
Yeah. So it's all about how they grow the business model. And essentially, whatever money I give you, can I 10x that, right? So your initial round of what we'll call a Series A may be, I'll say $100 million. I recently just saw somebody, I think, raise a Series A of 150, which is ridiculous, but whatever. $100 million initially, So I'm looking to 10x that. So then my Series B of funding may be $400 million.
Okay.
I'm looking to 10x that. And so it's just like, you're growing, think of Facebook and how much money they were initially making until their valuation now. So I'm looking for your valuation for my return on investment to be 10x whatever I invested. And that's a 10-year process. Like most venture capitalists understand, they're not going to get their money back for 10 years. It's a marriage. And that's also why a lot of people don't invest in startups, because it's not a quick return. That's why a lot of us do real estate, because it's a quicker return.
Right.
Than investing in a business, because that's a 10-year marriage. So hopefully that made sense.
It did. And but with real estate, I mean, to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like it is a quicker return, but for a lot of people, they don't have the resources to get to the capital, which is the actual right. And so while real estate sounds like it's really great, like even the things that are going on right now as we speak, where these companies with cash on hand are gobbling up a lot of the real estate and making it very hard for the average middle-class buyer to be able to participate in the housing market.
Absolutely. And so even now we're even seeing the democratization, hopefully I said that right, of even venture capital fund with platforms like Republic. So Republic is like one of my favorite platforms.
Talk about it, girl.
Republic is a platform where the average person can pretty much be a VC. So it's like a equity crowdfunding platform, but I can put in, so as a business, I can upload my profile and say, hey, I'm raising $5 million. And then the community that's a member of Republic can invest as little as $100 in my business and get a portion of that investment. Some of the companies on Republic do set like a minimum check size. They have the right to do that. So, but it just makes it where the average person can invest in businesses. And I love it. And they actually just also have added a real estate portion to their platform.
Because I also think if we're talking about this too, I think we should also mention, just kind of throwing it out there, that there are ways that people can get money collectively, like a cooperative, for example, which is basically where people, a group of folks, pool their resources, pool their money together to purchase a property, and that everybody gets a say in how things go. If you want to have more folks to come in and be a part of it, they can, but they have to pay their way in. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are really just handing out free game right now. I hope y'all really taking notes.
Yeah. I mean, and we need those alternative models because, I mean, we push entrepreneurs so much to be in VC, and, I advocate for it because, I mean, only 1 to 2% of venture capitalists are Black, Latinx, Indigenous. So I'm like, okay, we need more representation in every space. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, can we at least get 10% in the industry? I'm just saying.
Right.
So, I do advocate because I believe we need representation in every space, but globally, only about 10% of companies even qualify for venture capital funding. So what do you do with the other 90%? How do they raise money to grow their business? Some take on debt, some very, 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 very small portion do co-ops. But everybody's going after VC funding, and it's just, we need alternatives.
We do. And that's where you come in, friend.
Yes. So, there are people, there are impact investors out there that are coming up with alternative models. One of my faves, some fellow Hamptonian, Nasir Kadri, he has a impact investing fund in DC where he's created his own alternative financing model of venture capital. Also Collab Capital here in Atlanta, they have created what's similar to kind of like a profit sharing model that they've created. Justin Dawkins has a whole article he's written about it. So if you look up Collab Capital, you can find it where he explains their whole process. But those different alternative funding methods are starting to come up, and that's what Consciously Funded. Not only do I want to fund and create pathways for our students, but these impact investors that are out here doing the work and creating alternative models, I want to amplify their work and what they're doing.
Yes, because a lot of times really what we need is to have more of amplification, not so much every single person banging the drum, but yes. But everyone should at least try to bang their own drum.
Yes.
That's a quick word.
Absolutely.
So you also started a podcast.
Yes, Consciously Funded.
Girl, because brand recognition. And yes. So like, what has that process been like as someone who, you've already been in media, you already kind of know, this is kind of old hat for you, but like, but like, how was it though? Like, how has it been?
It's been good. The problem that I am running into is that I'm bootstrapping this. And because I have been in media, I have made things more complicated for myself. So, for me to bring on a team that can do things at the level that I do them, I would need to pay them a significant amount of money.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Yes.
Because I'm doing this at a professional audio engineer level.
Yeah, you're literally like you're like Stevie J, except a lady and not addicted to cocaine. So,
right.
So
but
you a beast with them boards, girl.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm, and then, so I mean, it's been good to, because I've been out of entertainment since 2011. Like, I haven't touched a turntable, board, or nothing in 10 years. And so, to get back in it and find my rhythm, like, I'm such a nerd because it's like when you get back into editing, like, you start realizing when you have to edit the sound wave and cut it, you realize that certain sounds look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can just cut it.
And you can cut it right out. It's like, I thought I was becoming like, I don't know, a dolphin or something weird, because I'm like, I'm starting to notice that certain words have a nice wave to them. Like, yeah. That's why I have to stop editing so hard. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but I'm enjoying getting back in the process. It's a little terrifying, but I said on Twitter the other day, like, I ain't no punk, so I'm gonna do it anyway.
That's right. That's right. You're not no punk, and you're just gonna sit down and you're just gonna do it.
We're gonna get
That's
it
what
done.
life. That's what it is.
Yeah. So it's been great. I've been hearing some great stories, meeting some good people. I met a fellow Hamptonian that runs the impact investing fund for the federal government. I didn't even know the federal government had an impact investing fund.
Me either. Hell.
Right?
Gosh. Hey.
Yes, the DFC. Yeah. So it's been really good. Still working towards getting more Indigenous representation.
Has that been hard for you?
For the podcast, yes. It's been extremely hard. And I think, I'm from the South. So like I'm learning how to interact with Indigenous communities because I've never been around Indigenous communities.
Yeah.
And so I think I need to alter my process on how I book interviews for my podcast. But we've been popping on Clubhouse though.
Girl, I have not gotten my old sack of bones on Clubhouse.
We've been having good conversations on podcasts. I've been in all the Indigenous rooms. We play bingo on Friday nights. We've been lit.
Okay. See, you are having like the bet. You're always like, girl, you need to get on Clubhouse. And I'm like,
you need to get on Clubhouse, man. I'm telling you, it opened me up to a whole new world, living my best life. Today there's this on Mondays they had this media tech room. They talking about NFTs and stuff. Girl, I don't know about no NFT, but I'm learning. Listen.
See, and this is something I want to say, as part of this conversation, because we're talking about a very specific thing with venture capitalism, but we're really talking about the building blocks of financial literacy, right? Financial understanding. And the reason that is so important, and what we also need to know too, is that it is a process. It is not something that you're going to learn overnight. You're not born an expert, and you do have your entire life to learn it.
Yeah, especially when you've been excluded from the conversation.
Come on, girl.
Because we were the commodity. So
yes, come on, girl. God damn it.
So they weren't teaching us the system because we were.
We
were what was being sold.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, we have been kept out of the system where we were what was being sold. So we gotta learn.
We have a lot to learn. And that's why we have to be uncomfortable for a little while, because we have to learn these things that were, that seem like foreign language. Everybody was talking, I think we've had a couple of great examples this year of ways that these levels that people are being shut out of briefly are opening up, like the whole thing with what was it? You know what I'm talking about with the GameStop.
Yes. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Robinhood was like, no, girl, you cannot come in here and get these coins.
I'm like, the common people just doing what y'all been doing for decades.
Is it not called Robinhood? Hello.
Right. They said, we ain't doing that.
No, not in here.
People making money, right? So,
but that's why we have to start being more of those people. So like what are some of the other gaps other than just knowledge? What are some other gaps that you see?
Oh, geez, man. So many. So many. So one, there, especially even now with all these Black funds, popping up to support Black founders. It's like, why we need a whole separate fund? Why we can't just be in your regular deal flow? But that's a different conversation. So there, there's this white savior narrative across the board. Like anytime it's anything dealing with Black, I'm gonna go there. Dealing with Black folk, or Indigenous people, it's just this white savior narrative. Like y'all doing us a favor. It's like, we built this country.
We built this country. You came over here with disease. You came down from the Caucasus Mountains with nothing but famine.
I saw this video of this Indigenous lady from Canada. she was doing a press conference, about the children that they found, these
Oh my
mass graves of
gosh.
children.
Yes.
So I guess this white lady reporter asked the question and asked it in a disrespectful way. Chad, she was like, if it wasn't for us, you would be homeless.
Oh my God. You would be in the sea, girl.
So yeah, so it's I think we have to get rid of this white savior narrative.
Yeah.
Black people are not your charity case.
No, we're not. We don't need your charity. We just give us the money and shut
that
up.
We worked for.
That we worked for and we earned.
Yeah.
Girl, I just want to pull the car real quick.
Yes.
Just real fast. Have you also been seeing the discourse? I've been talking about this on Instagram about Black folk being like, I'd rather piss glass than take my ass back into that office.
Oh yes. Yeah,
I'm with it. I'm
yeah.
100%.
I mean, that just speaks to the violent atmospheres that we work in, and that's like it's violent. It is violent. It is all the micro, like because I didn't really do the corporate route. I worked in banking for 3 years and I couldn't do it, and I was like, I can't. This is too much. So, but I recently learned like Black people can't like sit together and congregate at work.
Excuse me?
That's a problem in corporate America. I was like, what? They were like, yeah, the manager will come over and say something if it's too many Black people sitting together at the lunch table. I was like, stop it. Are we in high school? What the heck?
The actual
we grown.
hell?
We grown. We real.
We are grown. If we're gonna take you down, Tom, you're gonna go down regardless.
That is a thing.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that was a thing, girl. It is clearly a thing in corporate America. And I was just like, wow.
I do know that the corporates do like to ask you or make stupid ass comments about your hair. Like, oh, you got a haircut. Bitch, these are braids. What are you talking about?
I am very thankful. And I guess, it's just protection because, the universe knows my temper. God knows my demeanor.
Yeah, he does.
Because I've never had anybody try to touch my hair. I ain't never had nobody say nothing to me.
Ashata. Won't he do it?
I have never, like, some of the things people encounter, I'm thankful I haven't encountered that. But on the flip side of that, because I'm from the South, like, I have always protected myself from certain environments so I don't encounter those things. Yes.
You mean the happy
microaggressions. Yeah, yes. The happy hour.
Yeah.
The micro. I'm very cautious. Yeah, and just where I go, who I interact with, because I grew up in the South, and especially in Atlanta. Like, I'm from Southwestern Atlanta. So it's like, you don't go to Stone Mountain.
SWAT.
Yeah, I'm from the SWAT. You don't go to Stone Mountain. You don't go to Lake Lanier. We didn't start going to the west side of Atlanta till the early 2000s. Like, you go across that train, you might get lynched. Like, we just didn't do that. So, yeah, I've just been, and some Black people are like, well, I go what I want, and that's fine. Like, you be free and you be liberated, but I do like to be alive. So I'm very cautious of where I go. I don't drive through Mississippi and Alabama at night.
Come on. Are you insane? That's the horror movie. Like, I would make a horror movie called Driving Through Mississippi at Night as a Negro in parentheses. So you really can catch the tea. Like, because we
don't do that. We time it to where by the time we get to Mississippi, if we driving, it's daylight.
It's noon. So it is high ass noon.
Right. We'll go through Georgia and maybe like Birmingham,
let me tell you something. I won't go through Valdosta, Georgia at night. We've all made that ride. If you're in Atlanta, you've made that ride to pump on down to Miami for spring break or for bike week, girl. We know what it gives. You already know.
Man, I'm gonna tell you. So I don't remember one of these quarantine days, my husband and I was like, we're gonna take a drive because we've been in the house. We're gonna take a drive. So there's this road near our house that takes you all the way to Alabama. So it's like, let's go down the road and see where it goes, see what's down here.
Is it Route 1?
29.
Oh, okay. Route 1 goes all the way like to
it's Route 29. So okay. So we go 2 towns past where we live, and all you see is Confederate flags.
It's like a landmine.
Whole way down.
Nope.
So it was daytime. So by the time we got to the Alabama state line, it was starting to get dark. We was like, okay, we coming back the highway. So we didn't come back 29. We went back 85.
I don't blame you.
We're not going back that way. Not at night. No.
Hell no. And, I think that's something that people didn't realize. And that's why I'm like very angry about Lovecraft Country. I know we have veered so far from the ventureness, but like real quick. But that's why I'm angry for a lot of reasons about Lovecraft Country being gone. But that's one of the beautiful things is that they showed what it was like, in these sundown towns where you had to have your Black self and your family to the other side before the sun goes down.
Yep.
How scary that is. There are no phones.
And it's still like that in some, especially in Alabama and Mississippi.
Yes.
And
Louisiana. And God bless all y'all. I got listeners in all them states. I love y'all, but y'all know what your states give.
Right.
So
Okay. But it relates because even in VC, it's like, all these VCs want to quote unquote invest in Black businesses or want to bring on my wonderful HBCU students to work at their firm because they need some Black people. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what type of environment are you bringing my students into? And I talked about this. Like, are you bringing them into a violent environment?
Yes.
Where they are being abused every day because of your racism?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then even like when I talk to founders, it's like, okay, yeah, you want these, you want the same firms that invest in Facebook or Twitter to invest in you, but that is a marriage. Is that somebody you want to be in a relationship with for your business? Because I have seen VCs invest in a company and fire the founder and hire a new CEO.
What?
Yes, it happens. So
I don't know, girl.
I constantly have to have that conversation with our people that are trying to raise funding. It's like, you got to do the research on the people that you're looking to get investment from. Like, one, have they invested in your industry? Two, have they invested in any other Black people?
Yeah.
Do they have any Black investors in their network? Like, or are you the token? I'll never forget, I had a large Fortune 100 company that was recruiting from Morehouse College, all Black male school. And they sent me a recruitment flyer with white women on it. I'm like, oh, you just didn't even try.
Oh, they Shea Moistured you.
Yes. Like, you ain't even try to research.
Can I tell you how I damn near fell out of my seat when I saw them two red-haired white women talking about their complications with their hairs? I wanted to pick a chair up and hit that man with it. I wanted to choose violence. Anyway, carry on.
So we have to, if you are a white person that wants to be an ally, and I say we need more accomplices than we need allies, we need you in the work. You have to be mindful if you are investing in Black businesses or if you are bringing Black investors onto your team, the environment you are bringing them into. It has to be inviting.
Yes.
For us. You have to be a real partner to understand the different things that our businesses go through that are different from your white male land owning counterparts. So, and then, as a Black, Latinx, Indigenous person looking to invest, really look at the people you're pitching to. And then too, I hate, because, before the George Floyd incident, well, I don't even like calling it an incident. Murder. Thank you. That's the right term. Execution. Yes, that is the right term. A lot of people were just pushing people to Harlem Capital, just if they were Black. But I'm like, Harlem Capital does have a clear investment thesis of the industries that they invest in. So you can't just push all the Black people to Harlem Capital just because they Black and just because they title say Harlem. That ain't how that works.
Yeah.
So, I'm thankful for all the funds, popping up that Black people are running. But there's just a lot that needs to happen in the venture capital industry to make it a safe place for Black, Latinx, and Indigenous people.
And bringing it back again when we're talking about our people, Black and brown folks, Indigenous folks, and hell, our LGBTQ plus, our non-binary folks too.
Very much so, because
having a lot of yes, are having a lot of challenges in corporate space.
Yes.
And to me, I feel very strongly that every single person, regardless of how successful it gets, even if it is just, you know, just a little side business that you have, please start something for yourself. If anything has shown and been proven, you cannot rely on one stream of income. It is
Right.
so easy for it to be taken away. And that's one of the unfortunate things of capitalism, is really
Yes.
just the plight of the middle class. Yes, the poor, they have to pay penalties for being poor. But the
Yep.
middle class, anytime there's any change in power, change in the economy, the main folk who get bulldozed
Yeah.
is the middle
We
class.
always almost don't even have a middle class anymore. To be,
Oh
I mean, if
my
we're gonna
God,
be real
today.
about it in this country, we don't really have one anymore. So there's that. So,
Because
but even
everything is expensive as sin. Like
yeah. So
expensive.
I'll give you an example here in Atlanta. We have a lot of opportunity zones. And so you have a lot of quote unquote mixed income housing popping up.
What the hell is that?
Right. And so when you look at their definition of low income, it's $45,000. That's considered low income. But
Still?
some of these communities where they're building in, the average income is like 20,000, 30,000. So you're still pushing out everybody in that neighborhood. And then you're building like one neighborhood here, the average income is $35,000, and they're building townhomes that start at 500,000. Nobody in that neighborhood can afford that.
I'm going to go live in my car. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with that?
Exactly. So, there's just a lot of representation issue. Even for our Black general partners that are going to limited partners to raise money for their venture capital funds, you just really got to do your research on who you're bringing on your team. There's just so much with that. I mean, it's been hard for a lot of Black people to raise funds.
Yeah.
And then so I'll give you a prime example. Most of these funds popping up, like Black people are only raising like between 5 and 50 million, which is not a lot for a venture capital fund. And they're only getting like 2%. So that fund has to go to investing in businesses, but they still got to eat and pay their own bills.
Right.
But they're only taking like 2% of that. So if you have 3 partners that are working with you to do deal flow and manage your fund, you may get a salary of 50,000 as a venture capitalist. Maybe.
That makes me ask if like the juice is worth the squeeze.
I ask myself that every day.
Oh, girl.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I feel like we need representation in every space. But something has to change for it to not just cater to ultra wealthy cisgender white landowning men. My God. Because right now that's who the system is for.
Yeah. And I think we've more than come to the crossroads. So we've walked through the process for venture capitalism. We've talked about creating multiple sources of income. Yes. But what if, like, first, let me back the truck up. What are some books or some resources that you find or you have found on your journey, your financial journey, because that's what we're all on, a journey, and finances is part of it.
Yes.
What are some things that you've read or who are folks that you have sort of modeled after that have kind of helped you on your journey?
Yeah. So before I get into the books, we first have to understand this. One, because I said I was going to define generational wealth, because everybody like, oh, I want to build a legacy. I want to build generational wealth. Generational wealth, legacy wealth, research has shown starts at $100 million.
Well, girl, goddamn. I mean, come on now.
So
don't ruin people's nights.
Research has shown that below $100 million, that wealth typically does not pass to the second and third generation. Typically it stops with the second generation. They lose it or whatever. So if you want it to pass to your children's children, that amount starts at $100 million. So outside of that, you really ain't building legacy wealth. So there's that. So two, we have to personally then define what is our philosophy of wealth and generational wealth and money for our individual selves, our individual families. What does that mean? It can't just be, I get my little house, I drive a Mercedes.
Come on.
And, I can pay my bills on time, because that could be gone tomorrow.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
I mean, Katrina, that just.
The hurricane.
Like that.
Harvey, Maria. Come on. We can keep going.
Gone. You got explosions. What was it? A nuclear explosion in Japan? Like, things happen, what I'm saying? So, stuff could just be gone. Wildfires. The wildfires in California, like,
yep.
I think they said 24 homes were like
that collapse, the condo collapse in Florida. Right. I mean, there's just like
things happen, right?
Yeah, so, shit happens.
So it's like you have to define what that legacy wealth really means for you personally, what your philosophy is, and how, if you choose to have children, how are you going to teach that philosophy to your family? Right. It can't just be, the way we think about financial, you have to start there. So when it comes to books, we got to understand the system first. Mm-hmm. So number one book, The Color of Money. Ooh. Breaks it down. Okay. Breaks down how this financial system was not made for us. Slavery's Capitalism is another great book that I love. And it really, again, breaks down how this system was not made for us. So The Color of Money, Slavery's Capitalism. But then when we go to solutions, there's a book called A Few $1,000. And it talks about how with just $2,000, you can help lift somebody out of extreme poverty. And it breaks down like how you do that even on a policy level. It was written by a guy who is a heir to the Levi Jeans family.
Is he single?
No, he's old as crap. He's definitely like a good 70, maybe 80 years old.
Nah, it's too old.
But he's run a nonprofit for 40 plus years that has sole purpose has been to tackle the issue of poverty. And so this book is based off his 40 years of work. They actually have a podcast called Money and Meaning that is amazing. Okay. So Money and Meaning, I can't remember the name of the nonprofit right now. So,
that's okay. The book is we'll get it later.
A Few $1,000. And then, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is a great book. That's a book that I read when I was in college, that just totally like transformed the way I thought about money. So I think that's like a good foundational book. And then of course, the book of all books, Think and Grow Rich. Yep. So Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And then you have Think and Grow Rich, The Black Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, who is a professor at Clark Atlanta University.
Hey.
So yeah, Think and Grow Rich, and then Think and Grow Rich, The Black Choice. And Dr. Kimbrough wrote that book at the request of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So the Napoleon Hill Foundation hit him up when he was teaching at Atlanta University at the time, and was like, Napoleon Hill had all this work he was doing on how to build wealth in the Black community before he died. They gave him access to the papers, and he wrote the book based on his research. And so those are just a few books. So just to recap, The Color of Money, Slavery's Capitalism, A Few $1,000, Think and Grow Rich, and then Think and Grow Rich, The Black Choice.
I like it. It's the 5 fingers of excellence. I like it. It makes a mighty fist.
Yes.
I like it. Lavonya, girl, you have just come through. You've given so much knowledge and information. You're I should give you some flowers, girl. I try to give you flowers all the time. But
thank you. I try to give you flowers. Your podcast is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've been you and a lot of you. I mean, it all comes back to Raina. It really
Yes,
does.
we love Raina.
We love
Raina is
her.
amazing.
Oh my God. She really made so much possible.
Yes,
It's
Black
crazy.
Sustainability Network. If you're not a member, you care
Become
about
one.
environmental justice and sustainability, join the Black Sustainability Network.
Yes, I like this. Well, we've already kind of had several quick words. So I don't feel like we should devote any, unless you do have one more bit of parting advice you'd like to give the folk.
So I think one of the things we wanted to talk about was like, how do you break into VC?
Oh, damn. Jesus. Have we been talking this whole time and
We didn't
didn't
talk about
say,
that.
oh, wow. Okay. Well, girl, hit it.
So let me share that. So I fell into VC. It was not a choice. Just kind of had that. But VC is a very relationship driven business. And it really is about hitting the ground and networking. If you plan on being in VC, you need to be on Twitter, period. Deals are made on Twitter in VC. There are a lot of fellowship programs. I know Black VC has fellowship programs for Black individuals. For college students, you have a lot of different HBCU venture capital cohorts popping up. And then a lot of funds are creating fellowship programs. I know even Intel Capital, I've had students go there, which is Intel, the computer company. So most of these corporations have VC funds, which I didn't know. So like Accenture, Deloitte, Microsoft, they all have their own VC funds. Coca-Cola. It's really networking. If most VC funds, of course, focus on a particular industry. So, starting to create thought leadership around an industry you're interested in. You can write posts on LinkedIn or write blogs and things like that. So people know that you understand the industry, you notice trends, you understand where it's going. But definitely applying to these different fellowship programs are super helpful. If you're planning to start your own VC fund, there are a couple emerging VC programs out there. So if you just look for like emerging VC, Stanford has one, 500 Startups has one. So I would build relationships, with people that are in the industry. For HBCU grads, look for other HBCU grads that are in the VC industry, ask for advice, and see what you need to learn. And then try to get into one of these fellowship programs, offer to help with deal flow. Like if you come to a VC and you want to either work at that fund or you go to an LP and you're trying to raise a fund, like already have some entrepreneurs in your pipeline you've been talking to. Because that's what a VC's job is to build relationships with entrepreneurs. So you need to show that you already have the capacity and a network of entrepreneurs that can be possible investments.
Yes.
And have that, to go to. And then two, there's another organization called Founders Institute, I believe. They have a free online venture capital training that anyone can do. Yep.
Founders, what is it called again?
Founders Institute.
Okay.
And it like takes you through how to develop your investment thesis, and all of those things. It's called Founders Institute VC Lab, is what it's called.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a VC accelerator program.
I like
it. So those are some of the things that are available, but it's all about networking. Get to know entrepreneurs, get to know VCs, go to where entrepreneurs are hanging out and just start building relationships and talking to people about their businesses. And then, really good book for those who want to either raise venture capital funding or be a venture capitalist is Venture Deals by Brad Feld. And he also has a free course that you can take that goes with the book. So
cool. And I just want to say, as just part of my quick word, is like there's so many things in what you said that are really important. And one thing I just want to hone in on for folks is do not be afraid to expand your circle. Yes. Understand that whoever you're with may or may not be able to make the journey with you. There is no harm in letting people go or changing the dynamics of your relationship whenever you find that it no longer serves you. Do not be afraid to, like Lavonya recommended, getting on Twitter and following venture capital, which I follow that hashtag on Twitter. And I don't know anything that they are talking about. Not a damn thing. I have to go Google it.
But the more
And I
you
don't
listen,
give two
eventually you get
shits
it.
because
Right.
eventually I'm going to get it. And
Yes.
that's another thing. And that's also the importance and the power of the mind. You have to know, even in the moment, if that you don't, you got to know that one day you're going to get it. And like,
yeah, I mean, we all had to learn our ABCs, and now most of us, not everybody, but most of us can write a complete sentence.
Some of us
You know?
can.
Some of us can.
Some of us
but
have
it started
habits
with
of
us.
effing up our homonyms, but it's fine. It's fine.
But you know, we all had to learn our ABCs, you know?
We did.
And now we can write sentences. Look at
yes. And if for and something else that we've been talking about too is creating multiple sources of income. Yes. No one is saying quit your day job. Nope. No one is saying that.
You need a minimum of 8.
8 what?
Sources of income. And I like to say cash flow vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
That's the term I use because a friend of mine said to me one day, he was in finance. He's like, nobody looks at a stream and like, oh, that stream is amazing.
That's true.
No one does that. So he calls it cash flow vehicle. So I've kind of adopted that. But
I like that too.
You need a minimum of 8, but you know, don't stop there if you can. So Janet Jackson's ex-husband, his dad, when he died, left 58 businesses to him and his 3 brothers.
Wow.
58
businesses
that he owned, that he passed on to Janet Jackson's ex-husband, his 3 brothers. So you need a minimum of 8, but don't stop there.
How much Janet?
I don't remember what her divorce settlement was. I don't remember. It was a lot though. It was a lot. So with that, another person to follow is Kezia Alfred, I believe. Was it Black Upstart? I think is the name of it.
Okay.
She be dropping gems all the time on how to build your multiple cash flow vehicles, you know, just from all kind of stuff. And she has a book as well.
Nice.
Don't give me the line on what the name
That's
is.
That's fine, girl.
Follow Kezia. Follow Kezia. Yeah, Kezia Williams, Black Upstart. Follow her on Instagram. She drops all the gems.
Okay. I like it. Friend, this has been, I bet you if anyone is taking notes by hand, I know that hand is cramped because we have been spitting that hot fire. Yes. We did take a couple detours here and there, but that's all right.
But it all went together.
But it all flowed together. It all blends perfectly. Let the liquor tell it.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Because I was very sleepy and you woke me up.
Yes. Good. Because you have a effing dissertation to finish. You got to get in there and get to it. Do you need a pep talk? Are you in pep talk need?
I don't know.
What's your need right now?
A nap. A nap and a triple shot espresso. Okay. That's what I need at the moment. Yes.
Well, I can't give you any of that, but what I can say is, girl, you got this.
I got it.
You are magic. You already know you got this. You stand on the shoulders of your ancestors, your HBCU graduate, amazingness, awesomeness. Go get it done.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.